Hello everyone. Today we have two poems. One is 哭晁卿衡 by the great Tang poet Li Bai. The second one was written by a Japanese. The name is 望乡 by Cao Heng. The poem is quite simplified. It's express the brotherhood or the thinking of each other between the two persons. But the story actually is really complicated. Cao Heng was studying overseas from Japan, the city of Nara, the ancient capital at the time of Japan, went to the capital city of ChangAn of Tang dynasty to study the Chinese cultures, the science, the poems whatsoever. And he was a genius. As a foreigner, he passed the imperial exams and got a position in the Tang government, very close to the emperor, and finally he got a very high position and serves the emperor very closely. And the emperor Tang also adore him very much and appreciate him very much. So once when he want to go back to hometown, many years stay in Chang'an, everybody writing poems to see him away, including the emperor and the very famous poet Wang Wei as well. Li Bai also was a very close friend to Cao Heng. He didn't write poems at that time because he's not in Tang, not in the capital city of Chang'an. So let's see how these two poems comes from and how it was written. Okay, let's see. Okay, the first poem is by Li Bai, 哭晁卿衡. Cao Heng is the name of the person Li Bai is crying for. Qing is a sort of the respectful title, like the English word sir. But it is a little different from sir because Qing also shows the intimacy between the two. So the title is I'm crying for Mr. Cao Heng, and also shows the two persons are very, very close friends. They have a very good intimacy between them. Cao Heng is unfamiliar for most of the Chinese peoples unless you read this poem. But another name for Cao Heng, his original Japanese name, Abu is well known by the people of Xi'an city, where is the place of the Chang'an city in the Tang dynasty. There's a monument for this people, Cao Heng or Abu in the today's Xi'an city to memorize the friendship between the China and Japan, also memorize to this genius and a very friendly friends to China, Cao Heng. So Cao Heng was a noble people in the ancient Japanese capital, Nara city. And he was sent by the government, Japanese, or by the emperors to the Tang dynasty to learn the cultures, learn the technologies from the Tang dynasty at the city of Chang'an. Cao Heng is really a genius person. Through his studies, he passed the imperial exam and get a position in the Tang dynasty, in the Tang government. this is even not it's not possible to most of the Chinese people as a native Chinese. You are learning the knowledge and also you learn the literature. You should be a very, very good master on the Chinese history, literatures, and you write good poems to pass the imperial exam. So this one is a genius, and he made a lot of friends. So when he stayed many years in the city of Chang'an, he want to go back to Japan, go back to his hometown. Everybody write poems to saw him away, saw him back to Japan, including the emperor. Because in his late time, he got a very high position and served the emperor very closely. The sort of position to manage the National Library and National Archives. So he was the head for that department and have a very, very close relationship with the emperor. So also the very famous poet Wang Wei write poems to saw him away back to Japan. But Li Bai doesn't write any poem at the departure event because he's not there. He's not in Tang. He's not in the capital cities. So this poem actually is when Li Bai was staying in the city of Yangzhou and were believed to be the place, the departure place for Cao Heng on the way back to Japan. So the Yangzhou is also a seaport city in the Tang dynasty. And Li Bai heard Cao Heng was drowned in the sea, dead. So with this news, in Yangzhou city, Li Bai wrote this poem, I'm crying for Mr. Cao Heng, my dear friends. 日本曹衡辞帝都，征帆一片绕蓬壶. The first two sentences describe the situation. Mr. Cao Heng from Japan, he said farewell to the capital city. Didu is the capital city. So today, I'm a Beijingese. Most of the Beijing people call Beijing as Didu as well. A little bit ironic, or with a little bit pride. I was born in the Xi'an city, so I can share the same feelings at the former Chang'an city capital, the former capital. 征帆一片绕蓬壶, Peng and Hu is two islands on the east seas, so to the east of China. So that's the way to the direction to Japan. And these two mountain island in the East Sea is in the fairy tales, not the real island. But here it refers to the East Sea, the way the sea Cao Heng will cross over to Japan. 征帆 the sail, the sail on the voyage. 一片 shows loneliness. On the vast seas way back to Japan, the sail is very appears loneliness. That's for sure, because the people between Japan and the Tang dynasty is not so much. It's always a lonely journey. 明月不归沉碧海，白云愁色满苍梧. 明月, the bright moon, doesn't go home and sunk to the seabed. So this refers to the news or the accident about Cao Heng, which told Cao Heng was drowned in the sea on the way back to Japan. 明月 actually implies Cao Heng. Here it refers to Cao Heng as a replacement to Cao Heng, but also it reflects the characteristics of Cao Heng, because Mingyue, the first thing first, is very high. Just like in the English words, we see someone is a giant because he has the achievement, he has the something big, so that's very high. The bright moon, one character of bright moon is very high, and also it's very clear, crystal clear. That so refers to the integrity, the characters, very pure and with integrities. So that refers to the characters of the Cao Heng. So the Mingyue refers to two ways. The achievement is so great, and also he has such a great character with purity. And so he died in the sea. 白云愁色满苍梧, the white clouds, 愁色, so shows the color of sorrow and sadness, 愁色. 满苍梧, so 苍梧it also refers to the mountain island in the northeast seas to China. So it's also the direction to Japan. It means the sky also refers to can imply the people all over the country and the skies, because Cao Heng has such a great characters, and he's so friendly. He has so many friends. Even the emperor was his very close and good friends. So everybody, when they heard this news, they are in a big sorrow and sadness. Not only the poet Li Bai himself, he was so sad. He write this poem and also want to share his feeling with the people of the country who has the same feelings toward Cao Heng. So the poem by Cao Heng, name is 望乡. I'm looking back to my hometown. So this is the gesture. It's also express the feeling of the homeward bound sick. 卅年长安住，归不到蓬壶. 卅年, 30 years, live in the capital of city of Chang'an. After that, I cannot go back to my hometown. Here, Penghu refers to the land of Japan, which appears to the Tang people is still a island or a fair island. So it doesn't matter. So it's before Cao Heng go back to the Japan, he arrived Tang dynasty at the age of 19, and he stayed 30 years. So that means in his 50s, he want to go back to Japan, and he doesn't make the trip. 一片望乡情，尽付水天处. So I'm with a piece of my homesick heart and feelings, sinkness. 尽付, so I give all of this sickness, the homesick heart, to the boundaries of the water and the skies. The 天水, sky and water, refers to the boundaries of the sea and skies. It's meet to a line. So for the Chinese people, 天水处 means normally refers to the far away on the seas. So this actually refers to the accident. He lost all his possibilities to go back home, Japan, somewhere on the sea. 魂兮归来了，感君痛苦吾. So my soul come back to the capital city now. Not only his soul, his flesh as well. 感君痛苦吾. So I saw the poems wrote by Li Bai, and I know you feel so sad and sorrow and bitterness toward me, because you think I am dead already. Actually, I'm not. 我更为君哭，不得长安住. But for the status quo, I'm back to the capital city of Chang'an, but you are not. So 我更为君哭, I'm also crying for my buddy Li Bai. You have no way to live on in the capital city of Chang'an, because we will have some of the poems of Li Bai already. We know Li Bai has a great ambitions on the political things and the government affairs, and at this time he was abandoned by the emperor, so he lost all his dreams. So here actually it's not living capital city Chang'an, actually it refers to Li Bai has lost all his dreams already, and he cannot live in the capital city of Chang'an as well. So the two simple poems, and this express the brotherhood, the friendships between the Chinese peoples and Japanese people in 1,300 years ago, and these stories remains till today. The shipwreck actually happens. The fleet actually is on a missionary of a monk, a very famous monk, ChangAn. He want to go to Japan to spread the Buddhism and teach the Japanese to believe in Buddhism. And so Cao Heng heard this news, and he went on the fleet of ChangAn. On the midway, and there is a hurricane, typhoon. So the fleet has been separated, and they get lost to each other. And ChangAn continued the way to Japan and arrived to Japan finally. And there's a very famous Buddha temple in Nara city today, which is founded by the monk ChangAn. And Cao Heng was blown away to the south, to the Wenan today, actually, which belongs to the Tang dynasty at the time. So finally, he managed his way back to the capital Chang'an again, roughly 2 years later. And when he arrived to the capital city Chang'an, he know the poems of by Li Bai. He read this poem back. Cao Heng was very famous in Japan as well, or 阿部种马吕, I should say. Since he came to Chang'an at the age of 19, he had never went back to Japan again, because after the shipwreck, when he back to the capital city of Chang'an, several months later the civil war, 安史之乱 begins, and since then the situations doesn't allow him to go back to Japan, and he stayed with the Tang dynasty very closely with the royal families, and get a very high ranking with the noble rankings finally, and died at the age of 73. There is a monument, also a small museum in Xi'an. The small museum is in the relics of the Tang royal palace, 大明宫. So if you have the chance to visit Xi'an, spend some time there and see the small museum for Cao Heng, or Abu Tumali. The reason for his famous in Japan is first thing is his family is a big family, a noble family. The second thing is his poem was in a very famous Japanese songs collections, 小仓一人一百首. His song or his poem was in number 7 and is known by almost every Japanese. So he's a genius, not in the intellectual knowledge part, writing poems, and he's very good at bureaucratic or at officers. Okay, that's for today, and I hope you enjoy it and enjoying the stories between the two countries and the friendship of the brotherhoods. Okay, bye-bye.